like. You don't have to. It's up to you. I'm not going to really use mine right now, but I'll have it off to the side in case I want to sit on my pillow at all. So if you have a pillow nearby, you might want to grab it just in case you want to use it. We are going to be doing some stretches for the hamstring today. And if the floor is a little far away, you can like put a stack of books up if you don't have yoga blocks, and that will help you. You'll see what it looks like in a little bit when we do that. But sit however you feel comfortable, cross-legged, legs out straight, nice elongated spine. I want you to inhale, lift those shoulders up, close your eyes. Exhale, let those shoulders drop down. I want that weight that you're dropping from your shoulders to travel all the way down your spine into your hips, so your hips feel heavy and weighted on the mat. Inhale, lift up again. Exhale, drop down, feel that weight, crunch down on the mat. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Good. Go at your own pace now. Find your own rhythm of breathing. It helps to breathe out of your lips. So when you exhale, you can control that breath a little bit better. Good. Up. Dropping those shoulders. Lifting them up. One more down. Let everything go, everything that's on your mind from this week, upcoming weeks, whatever it is that's on your mind that's keeping you feeling heavy. Try to exhale, let it go. Throw it out the window, so to speak. And breathe. I want you to start rolling your neck, nice and slow, tucking that chin in towards your chest. Rolling it out and back so your forehead is facing the ceiling. Nice and slow. Keep your eyes closed. Deep inhales and exhales. You're going all the same direction as of right now. I want you to do 2 more rotations on this side, and then you're going to switch the direction and go on the other side. Go ahead and switch. Make sure your shoulders are even relaxing right now. So sometimes as we're trying to relax, our shoulders like still crunch up towards our neck. Make sure that they've fallen down. And I'm not like hunching forward as I'm doing this. My goal here is to imagine my shoulder blades are kind of drawing down my back or down my spine towards my tailbone. And that's going to automatically put you in more proper positioning. So it's not just about squeezing your shoulder blades back, it's actually about them shifting down your back and making sure your alignment is proper. One more big rotation of that neck. Good. Resting your hands just on your knees, whether your legs are straight, or if they're straight, you're going to rest them higher up. If your legs are bent on your knees, and you're going to roll your shoulders back. Now this time you are going to squeeze your shoulder blades together and then round your back as you bring them forward. So big rotation back and then rounding your spine. Rotate back. You don't have to keep your hands on your knees anymore if you don't want to. You can even go a little bit deeper. Bring the arms back if you want, or again, if it feels more comfortable, leave them on the knees. Breathe deeply. Now forward. Rotating forward, rounding that back. and then kind of coming to neutral. So rotate forward, round that back, and then come to neutral. Inhaling and exhaling. Breathe. Good, one more. Forward and neutral. Take your neck for just a second. I want you to look over this shoulder. Let's start with our right shoulder. We're gonna look over our right shoulder, and I'm gonna take my right hand, and I'm not pressing on my jaw at all, but I'm gonna give it just a little guidance. So it's slight pressure. It's not like you're trying to wrench your neck around. You're just pushing it a little bit further than you can naturally. Inhale, exhale. Feel free again here to close your eyes. Just focus on that breathing. Again, letting your shoulders drop. Your shoulders should not be hunched up towards that neck at all. It should be completely relaxed. On this exhale, go ahead, turn it slowly towards the left side. Taking that left hand, guiding that jaw to go a little bit deeper. Breathe. Just breathing, making sure we're dropping our shoulders, relaxing our neck. Good. Bring it back to the middle. Go ahead and put your hands behind your head, dropping your chin towards your chest. The weight of your hands are just going to push it a little bit deeper. You're not putting any pressure on your hands right now, though. Good. Breathe in deeply. Exhale and release. All right, we're going to come onto all four. And so I'm going to show you probably from the side and from the front what we're going to be doing. This first one, it is a hip socket stretch, which we've done before, but this one is a little bit of a different variation of it. You're going to be on all fours, making sure everything is stacked at first underneath your hips, and your wrists are stacked underneath your shoulder. So you're going to take your right knee and you're going to unstack it. So you're going to bring it back. And as you do that, you're going to shift your weight onto the knee that is in the front. So this is what it looks like from the side. It's a little hard to tell, but just so you can see from the side. And then from the front, so you can see this knee, hopefully you can kind of see it. It's going to be, this knee's forward, I'm shifting my weight out to the side. So it's almost like I'm letting my, as somebody described it as like your femur is coming out the side. So it's like you're trying to stick it out the side of your hip. You're sticking out, and this knee that's that we unstacked and we put it further back, it's doing nothing but keeping you stable. Breathe, lean into it. Breathe. Good, keep holding. Good, come back to the middle, switch legs. So bring the other one, stack it underneath your hips. Bring that other leg further back. Shift that weight to the side. Again, it's like that femur is trying to come out the top part of your hip. And breathe. Holding here. This is a very passive stretch. There's not much that you're doing except for just holding it. As you're breathing, try to relax into the pose a little bit more, and naturally you'll kind of lean further into that leg. If you're feeling anxious or tensed about it, then you won't be able to get the full position because your body's just not going to let you. So try to relax your muscles and let's fall deeper into it. All right, bring it back to neutral. We're gonna go to the side, and we're gonna come onto our feet, and we're gonna go into a down dog. So we're gonna push back into our heels, and we're gonna start with our left leg. Don't worry if your heels don't touch. You wanna keep that tailbone untucked. Trying to get those heels towards the ground, but feel free to bend those knees as much as you need to. We're still warming them up, so they're gonna feel a little bit tighter right now. Alternate knees coming in. Push the ground away, tailbone is untucked as we're doing this. Ears are between shoulders. Breathe. Let's take our left leg, send it straight back. A nice long line from our hands to our feet. Let's swing it forward. We're gonna open up, rotate towards this leg. Breathe. Feel free to drop a knee right now too if you want. You don't have to be on your toes at that back foot. Breathe, bring it down. We're gonna come back into down dog. We're gonna go into the right leg. Again here, walk those knees. Take our right leg, nice straight line. Bring it up towards your right hand. Rotate and open. Breathe. And bring it back down. Go ahead, send that leg back. Go back into down dog. Breathe. Alternating knee in if you feel like it, or just holding static. Breathe. All right, coming forward onto our knees once again. Now this next part, we're going to be on our knees for a little bit, so if your mat is thin at all, you might want to double roll it up so it feels a little bit more comfortable on your knees. But we're going to be doing a gate series, so we're going to be opening up from side to side. This is one, I'm trying to see if I have any books nearby that I can use. If you have a hard time, for instance, because in it you're going to be reaching and stretching. We've done this one in this class before, and then we're going to be coming in. So here, if you have a hard time reaching the ground, you could get a stack of books and put it higher up so you can rest your hand on the books instead. I also show you alternatives too if you can't do that one. Also, when we do our hamstring stretch, which is going to be like this, you can also put that same stack of books right in front. So, multi-purpose. If you struggle with getting that full range of motion, a book, nice stack of books will be really helpful. Or board games, even. Anything that will be solid. All right, so you're going to come into this position. Now, I want this, sometimes I see this when my students get into this position. Now, what's wrong here is this is not stacked over your knee. You want your hip to be nice and stacked over that knee, nice and sturdy. This leg is just kind of here for support, right? So when you come out to the side, this is giving you balance. Your foot can be flat. You can kind of see my foot is flat. Usually I keep my foot flat. You can also have it kind of angled out. It's just going to depend on your ankle and how it feels. Mine is usually more comfortable flat. You're going to come down here, hand comes down, fingers are nice and spread. I want my wrist and my shoulder to be in line, and then I'm going to take my other hand and I'm going to stretch, lengthen. I want my fingertips and my toes to feel like they're being pulled in opposite directions. Pull, pull, pull. Breathe here. Good. You're going to come up, use those obliques a little bit. Lift up, adding a little bit of core. A little bit. I always like to add it in somehow. Coming down. Now, again, if you don't have a stack of books and you can't quite reach the ground, just rest your elbow on your leg or on your quad, not on your knee. Never on your knee. You can rest it on your quad, and you could do the same thing here. Or if you can touch the ground, go ahead and touch the ground. It'll make the stretch a lot deeper and more intense on your inner thigh. Reaching over, breathing. I'm not rounding forward. I want everything to be like in a nice straight line. Breathe. Good. Coming back up, we're going to switch it back. Fluid motion back and forth. This is probably one of my favorite moves to do. You can make it harder and easier so easily. It's very versatile. Come up, using those obliques as you're moving in and out of the pose. If you notice, my foot kind of comes up when I do this. It's just automatic, to be honest, and it changes the way it feels. It takes some of the stretch out of certain areas and puts it in other areas. So always play around in a pose and see what feels better, toes up or toes down. Come up again, reach to the other side. This is our last one on this side. Breathe. Good, come up and comes down. We're reaching back over. Breathe. Come up, using those obliques just a little bit. All right, switching which knee is down. Make sure I have enough space. Remember, up here, all about that foot. That foot can be flat or it can be angled out, just up to you. Make sure that knee is stacked under the hips so you're not like this. You don't want it to be out to the side. It should be nice and stacked. Bring that hand down. Let's reach up and over. Reaching. Stretching from my fingertips all the way down to my toes. Breathe. Good. Coming up, using those obliques. Little tiny ab workout. Bring it down. Remember, you want to be a straight line. You don't want to be curving forward. You want it to be nice and open chest, like you're reaching up towards the ceiling, and then bringing that hand over. Breathe. Coming up, using those obliques. Come down, stretch over. Using those obliques, lifting up, coming back down. Good. Nice, even breathing. One more. Full rotation. Coming up. Stretching over. And breathe. Last one. Coming down. Stretching over. Breathe and come up. We're going to switch. We're going to be on our knees again, like I said, for a while. So you're going to switch which knee is down. And so since I started with my right leg, my right knee is going to be down again. So I'm going to bring myself into a kind of kneeling lunge, and then I'm going to slowly scoot this leg out. And if you've taken these classes for a while, you'll probably recognize this one because I've done this in the gentle class before. It is not the most gentle. Hamstring stretches are something I think that a lot of students get intimidated by or uncomfortable with for many reasons. I do too. You're going to draw that ankle or that heel into the ground. So instead of feeling the need to lock out your knee, I don't want you to lock out your knee. And I don't even really want you actually this time around to point your toes toward me. Just kind of keep your foot kind of neutral. So drive that heel into the ground. So you might have seen a little change in how I was just kneeling. So I'm driving that heel in, and then I'm going to pull in my kind of femur into my hip. So think of that same stretch that we did at the very beginning. So if I'm here, my knee is stacked underneath my hip, drawing that heel in and then pulling back. See that pull back? So you're pulling it back. That alone should already start you feeling your hamstring working. My knee is still relatively soft. It's not like completely locked out. It has a little bit of give to it, which is what you want. Now hinge from your hips. Don't round your back. Your backs aren't meant to be rounded as you do this. Nice open chest, straight back. Hinge from your hips as far forward as you can go. Now my hamstrings are really tight, and so I can't go that far forward without having to compromise my back and start to round it. So I'm going to tilt as far forward as I can go. I'm going to breathe. My foot is still relatively relaxed. Drawing that foot in still, though, that heel down into the ground. Come up, release it. Take a second. Now when we do this next part, you're going to be hinging forward, same idea, but now we're going to add a rotation, and that's going to change the stretch, and it can make it more intense. So if anything, if it feels too intense, just go back to the standard hamstring stretch I just showed you. Now this is where the books can kind of come in handy because you can use it to bring the ground up. So same idea here. We're driving that heel into the ground, holding this femur back into our hips, hinging forward, hinging forward. Now this is my left leg. So since my left leg is forward, I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to bring it down towards the ground. I'm still not trying to round my back, right? I'm still trying to hinge from the hips. This is where the books come in handy because it'll bring it up. And then I'm going to open up to the side as far as I can go, looking up towards that hand. And breathe. Bring it back down. We're not going to hold it for super long because I don't want our form to fail. We're going to switch hands. So now this hand, my left hand, is going to switch with my right. My right hand is going to come up and open. Breathe. Come back down. All the way up. And you can shake out that leg if you need to. We're going to switch it. We're only doing it one time per leg because we don't want to overstretch our hamstring. And we're going to do a down dog after this. So y'all can hopefully see the difference between your hamstrings when we first started versus now after we've kind of really warmed them up. So again, hip is stacked over my knee, bringing out this time my right leg, whichever leg that you didn't do first, drawing that heel into the ground, pulling the femur back, right? Pulling that femur back into the hip. Hinging forward, you might find that on one side you're way tighter. This side feels like I can barely hinge forward without needing the feeling to round my back. The reason we round our back when we're trying to do this is because it gives us a kind of an illusion that we're going deeper into it when we're not. We're actually just taking the stretch out of one area and putting it in a different area that we're not actually intending to stretch. Breathe, push those hips back. Remember, my foot is fairly relaxed. It's kind of naturally curling up towards me, but I'm not forcing it to curl towards me. I'm keeping it neutral. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Remember to keep that chest lifted and open. Come up. Take a deep breath. We're going to do the rotations now. So if you're using those books or the board games to help you bring the ground up, you might want to switch them around right now, get them in place. Drawing that heel into the ground, holding that femur back, right? Pulling it back, hinging from the hips. Since this is my right leg, I'm going to take my left hand, put it on the ground or on my books, and open up towards this leg. And breathe. Nice deep breath. Good, bring it forward, switching the hands. Right hand now down, left hand going to go up. Breathe. Rotate down again and come back up. Shake out that leg. All right. You're going to come now forward onto all four and just do opposite motion. So you can kneel or you can, you'll stay kneeling. You're going to rock back and forth. I'm trying to drive my heel back, so it's hard to see because it's probably going on the screen, but I'm trying to drive that heel back and roll forward. So back, roll forward. It's important to stretch both sides of your ankle too. So because I did gymnastics, my ankles are pretty messed up, which is why I have such tight hips, as there's a lot of imbalances that came along with my years of ankle injuries and walking on an ankle that didn't quite heal properly. So it's really important that you get all angles of your calf and your ankle so they can be nice and healthy and mobile. Breathe. So rolling onto the toes like that is just really good for us because we don't really stretch it that way. All right, switching legs, pushing that heel back, rolling onto the toes. Heel back, rolling onto toes. Breathe. Good, back and forth. Breathe. One more. Forward. And then now you're going to step back with both legs and you're going to come into a down dog. Now, this should feel better this time around after those hip stretches and the hamstring stretches. It should feel maybe a little bit looser. You're still pushing the ground away. Ears are between my shoulders. My spine is nice and long. My hips aren't tucked under. They're tucked out. Tailbone untucked. And heels trying to get towards the floor. Breathe. On this exhale, go ahead and round your back up. Come down into a kneeling position, right into cat-cow. All right, so untuck that tailbone, look up towards the ceiling. Curve that tailbone under, let the movement travel up your spine. Push the ground away as your chin tucks into your chest. Untuck that tailbone, again letting the movement travel up your spine into your upper back. And looking up towards the ceiling. Tucking tailbone. And then tucking chin. Untuck. And untuck the chin. One more full one. Tucking in. And untucking. And breathe. All right, now we're moving on to our backs. Now this particular stretch, again, is just a little bit intense. I have actually never taught it for this particular gentle class. I've taught it in person. So I'll do my best to explain it. It's a little bit tricky, but I want you to think of your legs as making kind of an X when you do this. So I'll try to show you from different angles so you can see it. But you're gonna lie back, but kind of watch me first before you do anything, just so you can have a clear sight. You're gonna bring your legs up. Now I want you to cross them more like a lady cross, right? So your knees are kind of stacked under or over one another. You're not crossing them like this, right? So it's like the typical, like a lady crossing your legs. All right, so this creates an X with my legs. So feel like a roly-poly. So this is what it looks like. If you can see that, it should be like an X with your legs. Now, one thing I want you to note is as you're doing this, your toes should point back towards you the whole time. Now, there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. You can grab onto, obviously, your feet, but this is going to make it kind of really intense, so I'm going to show you some variations that you could do. So again, grabbing onto the feet is one. Once you grab onto it, you're going to put your back against the ground, and you're basically pulling your legs apart. I know, it sounds so wonderful, doesn't it? So again, variations that you can do for those that are not just feeling quite as flexible, grab underneath your knees and actively push your legs apart like that. It won't be as intense, but it'll still be a good stretch. The next level to that one, this is a great one pretty much for everybody, is grab onto where your shin is, and as you come back, naturally you're going to pull those legs apart. All right, so this targets your outer glutes specifically. So go ahead, get into position, go onto your back, cross your legs over. I started with my right leg over my left leg, and we'll switch once we're done with this side. Breathe, holding either onto back of the feet or the shins. Hold here and breathe. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We don't hold that one for too long because it can get pretty intense. So now we're going to switch it. Now this time my right leg is underneath, my left leg is over the top, right? So now again, figuring out where I can grab shins behind the knee if I really need assistance, or grabbing onto those feet if you really are feeling flexible. Drawing those toes in towards you so the toes are flexed up. Goal here again is trying to get that back to touch the ground. Hold it. Deep breathing. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Now that you're hopefully a little more familiar with it, it is a little bit of a funky one. It's hard to teach it when I can't see y'all. But we're going to do it again on the other side, on each side. So now that you kind of know what it's supposed to be like or what it's supposed to feel like, you'll have a better idea of where than when we first started. So go ahead and bring that leg up. I'm starting with the same leg that I started with, right leg over, left leg under, grabbing again onto my feet or grabbing onto my shin, coming back onto that back, breathing. We're going to hold this one a little longer. This one can get really intense. This is especially intense for my guy clients that take my class. They really struggle with this one in their hips. So for all the guys watching, I'm sorry. Breathe. Keep holding. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Switching right around. We're only going to do it 2 times on each leg, I promise. Grabbing onto feet, grabbing onto shins, whatever you need to. Lying straight back. Try to control your breathing. If you're really tight, this one kind of makes your heart start to beat a little bit faster. So focus on that breathing. Calm that heart rate down. Breathe. Trying to relax those muscles that are just wanting to react. Hold 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Feet are hip width apart. Take a second, let those knees just drop in towards one another. You can do cactus arms, you can do arms out like a T, or you can rest your hips on your stomach. Just take a second and let those hips relax. And breathe. Go ahead and bring those knees back to being both hip width apart. You're going to take your right leg, and this time you're just crossing your ankle right over your knee. This one, you're gonna let your foot drop down towards the ground, but you're gonna still try to keep this bend in this leg that's on the ground currently. Your arms are gonna be either cactus arms or they're gonna be like a T. Your goal here, just like before, is to keep your back on the ground the whole time. So your shoulders should stay on the ground. So foot comes down. This leg that's lying on the ground is still bent. And if you can see kind of how I'm walking it forward, that's going to make this stretch a little more intense on this front leg. Another way to make it a little more intense is gently on the meaty part of your leg, push your knee. As you can see how I'm kind of making it go in line with my ankle. So I'm gently pushing it so it's that's more in line, and it makes the stretch more intense on my hip. Hold it here and breathe. All right, relax. Let's rotate up. I have to move sides because the wall's gonna get in my way. You're gonna do the same thing here. This time, left leg is going on our right knee. Breathe, let it fall to the side. Foot on the ground. Now this one, if you notice, since I was just talking about imbalances, you want to see it in action. If you notice, this one is way more of an angle than my other side. So this is a clear, my external rotation on this hip is not very good, so I struggle with getting proper alignment. So I do the best I can with these positions, but you also don't want to force it. So if you do have one side that's just a little more tight, take it easy. Like this one's not going to get in the same position as the other leg, and that's okay. I know this, so I always try to focus on this leg, but I really focus on both legs equally. I'm just trying to get this one slowly to be in a little better shape. I also know this one usually just needs more time in a stretch than my other side. Breathe again. You can push against that meaty part of your leg and try and get that knee and ankle in alignment. And breathe. Both shoulder blades should be on the ground. Relax, rotate up, foot comes down on the ground, grab your knees in towards your chest, roll side to side. Last thing we're doing is happy baby. So you're going to draw those knees out to the edge, grab onto your toes, grab onto your feet, even grab behind your knees if you're feeling extra tight, you need a little extra love, a little extra help. If you feel like you're flexible and mobile enough to do this one, you can grab onto those feet and drive those knees towards the ground. Don't let your feet touch, okay? So you're not letting your feet touch. Your ankles are stacked over your knee, and your knees are then being pushed towards the ground. Rock side to side if you feel like it, or just hold it static. Breathe. Letting your head rest on the ground. Shoulders should also be resting on the ground or close to resting on the ground. Breathe. Slowly release those feet, drop those legs towards the ground. And I want you to just stay here and take a couple of breaths. you are finished. Breathe in and out, nice and slow.